Okay, now next up we're going to have an interview with Al Chiasson. Al, I met here at the show. I hadn't really talked to Al before. He is the general manager for HxGN Metrology Services.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring him on the show because to me it was really interesting what they're doing. They've launched an e-learning program, HxGN Metrology University. And what they're doing with it is interesting. I want to bring Al on the show. Al, thank you.
Thanks, Dirk.
For joining us.
Good to be here.
Just really briefly to kind of set the stage, what is HxGN Metrology University?
Well, it's an online training website. It's filled with courses for our customers and really users of all metrology products. That's kind of how it's expanded at this point.
And what was the driving force behind it? Was it just something you thought, oh, this would be a good idea, or was there something driving it?
Well, you hear a lot about it. You hear a lot about e-learning, and we had some fabulous training material for, a long time, but it was one or two guys working on it, and they couldn't get ahead. They couldn't expand our product offering. So, there'd be a software version change or an operating system change, and everything had to be redone. And it wasn't until we, in our earlier conversation, I told you about our LMS, our learning management system. It allowed us to use household software to kind of build the coursework. So then the whole team could simultaneously develop courses, and the training experts could kind of give them all the same look and feel.
And what does this do for, this is a two-part question. What does e-learning, or having an e-learning course, what does that do for a company's customers? Let's say not just HxGN, but in general, just because this is your field.
Right.
What does it do for the customers, and what does it do for the company?
Right, well, it's a great question. For the customers, I think the key is their employees can now learn at their own pace and their own convenience, and it kind of saves them a lot of time, it saves them a lot of money. They don't have travel costs associated with getting to a classroom, if you will. In terms of the benefit to the company, well, I guess it's kind of the same answer. It saves some cost, saves some time, and really allows them to make use of, say, our certification programs and zero in on a specific track, if you will.
And what kind of topics are you guys initially covering in HMU?
Yeah, well, the first round is easy, right? It's all of our hardware and software platforms for our users. So if someone buys a system from us, buys a solution, we go in and we install it, we need to train them how to use it. So that was the first round, and simple. But really, we get asked all the time, well, what about how to design an experiment? What about statistics? What about GD&T? What about, this. So this is where we thought, well, this is exciting. We have so much talent. We have over 100 application engineers, a full engineering department. We have white papers on temperature compensation, how to calculate your error budget. This is information that our customers, they need to know.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because initially we talked yesterday a little bit about this, and this is scaled for a lot of different users. I mean, you can scale it for large organizations that have a lot of metrologists, people that need a very high level of information. But you've also done something I think that's really interesting. You have a portion of HMU that's really devoted to the individuals that have very basic skills that they need to develop.
It is. We have two things really that are exciting. We have a full series of fundamental courses which are free to everyone, and they'll give you a little history about that niche. They'll give you typical applications and best practices, and it prepares you to get to the next level. And then the courses we talked about, you and I, were some small, one-day, $49, $99, and it hits a whole new market of people who want to better themselves. Maybe they're out of work and need to build a resume, for their next job to better their career, and not the biggies, right? Not the giant customers.
Sure.
So a lot of short bursts, very interesting courses that are prerequisites.
I mean, like you say, you have the content in-house. I mean, you guys have spent years, decades, developing this content through the various sectors, through the various divisions of HxGN, and I think that users appreciate that, right? They appreciate that. I mean, we see it in our users that we can share content we've developed over the course of time. So you guys really are using kind of refabricating the information that you already have in-house and presenting it in a way that's really easy for people to access.
Well, exactly. I mean, I mentioned temperature compensation. Well, this is a struggle that everyone deals with, and we could send them the white paper, but who's going to be able to digest that and make use of that information? But now, take a commercially savvy technical person and take that white paper and break it into a course that someone could take in a day, on their iPad, at a coffee shop, It's a whole new game.
Well, let me ask, I know one of the maybe it's not as big a complaint now as it used to be, but suppose, people, they don't have access to, or, a fast internet connection or that sort of stuff. Is this information also downloadable, or is there a DVD? I mean, do they have to take it online?
A lot of the courses are purely online.
Okay.
But, so, for example, if you signed up for a course, Dirk, you would get access to the online material for a full year. So you send us a credit card, you pay the $99, you have that. Now you have that course material. So we're trying to go paperless to reduce cost, right? And, I guess you could maybe print it. You have some options, but you need an internet connection.
Yeah, okay. Basically, you're and that's the direction most people are going.
Right.
I just thought I'd ask that because I know there's a question that does come up periodically. Well, do you have a DVD of this or whatever? Or can you just send us the PowerPoints or whatever? Okay.
Right.
All right. Now I know one thing that you're going into. I think you told me a lot of what you guys are starting with is the kind of how-tos on a lot of the HxGN equipment, how it works, how it operates, temperature compensation, that sort of stuff that is related to your equipment. But blueprint reading, GD&T.
Right. We wanted people to be successful when they came to our main courses. So we've got a lot of introductory courses on basic things like math for metrology, right? What does it mean to get on a layout plate and understand a three-dimensional coordinate system and begin to, acquire some data and make use of that data and, fill it up, push it up the pipeline. So we got our core courses done, and then we took a step backwards and we said, okay, what kind of people are going to be coming to this? Do they have the skills required to come be successful, and what can we do to add value and help get someone to that level?
See, I think that's smart, because I think many times what we do, maybe one of the flaws we have, maybe as a company serving our industry, and maybe as a media company too, is sometimes we assume too much. Maybe we assume that people are going to have some of the basic knowledge, and we're going to be presenting these ideas. And I hear from people at trade shows many times, they're like, well, I kind of get that whole GD&D thing, and I kind of know what it's about, sort of. So maybe what you're talking about is taking that step back and looking at it from the user perspective and saying, let's make sure that they're really prepped to understand this.
Hey, well, you're right, and it's important to our customers. They send 3 people to class. Well, maybe not all 3 of them grasped the information, right? So now we have an online test that they can't fudge. We have a report card, and not really to hold anyone accountable, to show the customer that they need to take a step back and begin with maybe some more fundamental courses, introductory level courses. But they've got the material for a year. They can take the test up to, I think 3 or 4 times. We set a limit, and then we want to talk to someone. Sure. So they can move at their own pace. They can take notes. It's just a great environment to learn, I think.
Great. Yeah. Well, Al, thanks for joining us. We're kind of out of time here. This is Al Chiasson, General Manager of HxGN Metrology Services. Thanks a lot, Al. Really appreciate it.